It's 30 years this month since one of the biggest disasters in British business history. Gerald Ratner created the world's largest chain of jewellery stores, and in one speech, he destroyed it.
I lost everything. I was completely wiped out. I had to sell my house, take kids out of school. Couldn't believe it. I thought, how could this happen over such a stupid joke? I couldn't believe that it could just change so quickly.
I sat down with him to find out how that was possible and get the answer to the question.
Can you still be happy after losing $1 billion?
Do I look happy? I owned Watches of Switzerland, Ratner's, Leslie Davis, Ernest Jones, Salisbury's, Weir's, a dozen different brand names. The day before the speech, we announced profits of 125 million. I had a plane, very nice jet. I bought helicopters. I had a house in Mayfair, and then I had a house on the river in Bray, boat, a few houses, quite a lot of cars. I was never really bothered about my own personal net worth. I was more interested in the power that the company had given me and my status. I wanted to be successful. I'd been a failure for 20 years. I kept hearing about other people achieving things and I was achieving nothing. When Ratner started getting exciting, I'd waited 20 years for this and I couldn't believe my luck that here I was in charge of this business.
So now we get on to 23rd April 91.
The Institute of Directors have an annual conference at the Albert Hall, and at the time they would invite the top businessman of the day. It was a very high quality lineup of speakers, so I was very honoured. There was a joke that we sell a pair of earrings for
under £1, gold earrings as well. And some people say, well, that's cheaper than a prawn sandwich from Marks and Spencer's. But I have to say, the sandwich will probably last longer than the earrings, but anyway.
I would have got away with that, because it's 99p pair of earrings. Then there's the sherry decanter joke.
We also do this nice sherry decanter. It's cut glass, and it comes complete with 6 glasses on a silver-plated tray that your butler could bring you in and serve you drinks on. And it's really only cost £4.95. People say to me, how can you sell this for such a low price? I say, because it's total crap.
I got a very good reception. There were a lot of laughs and claps. But there was a guy in the audience from the Daily Mirror. He said, you're making fun of your customers. And I said, no, it was just a joke. But then when I went to work the next day, my driver said, you know, you're all over the papers. The journalist of the Daily Mirror, he disingenuously said I said all my jewellery is crap. When I read this in the Mirror, it bore no resemblance to anything that I'd ever said. That I have contempt for my customers. That I've built my business on crap, and there's pictures of my house, the house that crap built, and all that sort of. It was just hideous. You've got all these comedians making jokes about it. Ken Dodd, I remember making a speech in front of the royal family, saying that he is to comedians what Gerald Ratner is to jewellery, and Prince Charles in the audience, and he was laughing his head off. And it was just all lies, and it was all over the paper, but everybody believed it. Suddenly the Ratner stores started going downwards. We were running at 25% down, which was a number which was unheard of in retail. If nobody would buy a diamond ring, we'd get down on one knee with a Ratner's box. But then Samuel's started being affected, because everybody said, you know, Gerald Ratner owns H. Samuel as well. And then Ernest Jones, then Leslie Davis. And I took the advice of hiring a chairman, because they said you can't be in this battering line the whole time. You need somebody to protect you. I hired a chairman who then proceeded to fire me.
How much money do you reckon you lost personally?
I lost everything. I was completely wiped out. I had to sell my house, take kids out of school. I didn't have a penny. I moved into a small house. I had an old car. At the time I wasn't really taking anything on board. I was living in denial, really. I went to see a psychiatrist because actually I had a breakdown, and he put me on antidepressants, which was not a great thing because I needed to get back on my feet, and what it does is just subdues you to a certain degree. So you just sit around all day doing nothing, not wanting to play anymore. I was cycling a lot, and I was getting off the antidepressants, and the cycling was doing a much better job. So I decided that I wanted to open up a health club because I could see the benefits, but I couldn't get the money. I came up with a scheme of saying that I'd bought it, which I hadn't, and putting an advert in the Henley Standard saying it would be opening in 3 months. and I would waive the joining fee if they joined now, and I got 850 people to sign up. So I got the finance, opened it, sold it 2.5 years later. So I was back on my feet. I then put in half of that into an online business, which I launched, back in the jewellery business. It was a wonderful feeling, although it's nothing like the money that I was making, but it was after 7 years of not even going on holiday.
Can you still be happy after losing $1 billion?
Well, do I look happy? No, well, I am happy. That's my face. I can't help it. People always say you've got a miserable face. When you're employing 27,000 people, they're expecting you to deliver. They expect you to walk on water. Everything was focused on the 200 million profit. That was to me everything. And if we hadn't made that, the status of walking on water would have gone. And it was like the sword of Damocles hanging over you. You knew that it couldn't go on eventually. All that stress I had of trying to impress people. Why? They're not even thinking about you. I know it sounds perverse, but what I like about my life today is I came down to this podcast on the train and I was like everybody else. I wasn't driving around in my ever-driven Bentley having to pretend that I'm somebody special. You can be happy after losing $1 billion. I'm living proof.